Hi, this is Keith. I'm paddling Klein Creek through the Timber Ridge Forest Preserve in West Chicago, Illinois. For this video, I want to share some of the interesting features of a relatively untouched suburban stream, and also want to give you some information so you can repeat this adventure safely and legally. Klein Creek is a tributary of the West Branch of the DuPage River. It starts as far north as Schaumburg, but it's a small creek for most of the way, traveling in conduits underground or through a series of reservoirs. That is a feature of many suburban streams. In this area, we also have water treatment plants that add water from Lake Michigan to these suburban streams after it passes through our showers and toilets. If you watch Klein Creek in the morning, between 7 and 10, it will rise up at least a half an inch every day as we take our morning showers and get ready for the day. However, this section of Klein Creek has been relatively untouched. This land was part of the Klein family farm from the 1830s until the Forest Preserve purchased it in the 1960s. This section of Klein Creek has continued to flow mostly like it has for thousands of years. Streams meander as they cut their way through the land, and once these meanders get big enough, the stream will cut through to form an oxbow. There are two abandoned meanders on their way to becoming oxbows. You'll find one early on and one in the savanna. There's also a remnant of an oxbow visible near the shore, but it's completely filled in. It must have been abandoned by the creek many years ago. The river valley was probably formed thousands of years ago as glaciers scoured over the land, picking up stones and sand, leaving grooves in the earth. Then when the glaciers receded and melted, the meltwater flowed into the valleys. The riverbed is built up of those stones and sand left behind by the glaciers. After a big rain, the increased water flow picks up sand and gravel and moves it downstream. When the current slows, it drops the sand and gravel, forming point bars. When a creek floods out of its bank, it deposits sediment, leaving fertile soils in the creek floodplain. In suburban areas, water is pushed to the creek too quickly because of all the pavement and storm drains. It makes any rain a flood event. The frequent fast water causes the creek to move more sediment and scour out a deeper channel. With these steep sides, it can no longer flood out of its bank as easily, exacerbating the problem. You can see the steep sides of this creek. You can also see the layers of stone that were the creek bed long ago, and how much deeper it is today. Here's the bridge for the Prairie Path. There's a little subdivision up ahead, and apparently some rocks. This section of the creek is a peaceful lesson in the geology of northern Illinois and a relaxing way to spend an hour after work. If you want to paddle Klein Creek, you need to wait for a good rain and avoid anything north of County Farm Road. There's some easy put-ins in Kale Stream, but you'd need to go through the Klein Creek Golf Course, and since by Illinois law they own the riverbed, they can keep you out. Plus, one of the tees goes right over the creek, so it's not safe to paddle through that area. An easy trip starts by parking in the Klein Creek Farm parking lot. This is a public lot. Go down to the farm bridge and check the water level. If it looks like you can pass through downstream of the bridge, there's enough water to make the trip. If you can safely go underneath the bridge, then the water's not too high. Here's the bridge. You want to be careful on big rain events because the water can get up to about a foot from the bridge. From the parking lot, take your boat up the bike path to the north bank of the creek. The Forest Preserve's website says you can enter at any reasonable spot on Forest Preserve land. This looked reasonable to me. Plus there's signage for boaters. The trip from County Farm Road to Geneva Road will only take an hour or so, but it's a nice respite from suburbia, and it's nice to know that you can so quickly escape into nature, even in an area that has almost 1 million people within a 10-mile radius. This is a small creek, so you will find some strainers, so be careful as you go through them. You can take out just after joining the west branch of the DuPage River at Geneva Road. There's no parking here, but a sidewalk and the bike path will bring you safely back to your car. I just carried my equipment a mile or so back to my car, but you can also bring your car and pick everything up. This is not a long trip, but definitely worth the experience if you want to see one of the last relatively untouched creeks in DuPage County.